Here's a comparison of tennis technique to spec tennis technique. And one of the things that I want you to take away from this video today is that the techniques are exactly the same between the two sports. And so if you want to improve a certain aspect of your tennis game, it can be done so with the spec tennis equipment first in a more favorable learning environment and then transferred over to your tennis game. So now let's look at the tennis technique, and the focus of this video is going to be on the preparation because that's often where the problems arise. If you hit the correct checkpoints on your preparation, you're going to end up setting yourself up for success on the swing. So the first thing I want you to notice is that he takes the racket back with the non-hitting hand on the throat of the racket. And this is important because it forces him to turn his shoulders. So he coils, and then he's able to uncoil that energy on his swing. So look, as he turns his shoulder, I actually want you to notice how the chin is on the shoulder or very close to it because he's turned that shoulder past 90 degrees. Next, look at how the racket is vertical as it's going back. So the racket head is higher than his wrist. From there, I want you to look at the separation of that non-hitting hand off the throat of the racket and how that non-hitting arm is now pointed to the side. It is not pointed at the net or at his target, but again, this is an indicator that his shoulders are turned. From here, I want you to watch how the racket flips, and now he's in a strong L-shaped position. And so that racket is still high, it drops, but then we end up in this nice L position with the racket and the forearm. So now let's take a look at this player's forehand in spec tennis. And you're going to notice he's hitting the exact same checkpoints that he was in tennis. So that non-hitting hand is on the paddle as it's going back. This is helping him turn that front shoulder. If you look at his chin is almost touching that front shoulder, which is a good indicator as well. The head of the paddle is vertical as it's going back. So the head is higher than his hand. Then look at the separation of that non-hitting hand off the paddle. His non-hitting arm is now pointed off to the side, which means that that shoulder is turned past 90 degrees. When he starts from that position, now we end up in that strong power L position after the drop. And then he's set up to make a pretty good swing from there. So you can see that the techniques between tennis and spec tennis are exactly the same. And my favorite way to train is to actually train every new skill with the spec tennis racket first, because I'm in a more favorable learning environment with a lower bouncing ball. That sweet spot is closer to my hand, so I can have success more often, build confidence quicker, and then I can just translate that over to the tennis racket. So thanks for watching today, and I hope you learned something about the forehand technique.